back. WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We are positively into the summer season and the unmasking of all of us. And man, I've been planning for Rolling Stone shows. I found my Pearl Jam tickets on my app. I had not looked at my ticket app in like 15 months. I've had a vacation and planned another. And my wife's not looking at the Crab Cake Tour as a complete vacation. I'm looking at it as quasi fun and work as I interview all sorts of celebrities and dignitaries along life's highway. But, I tell you what, we get together with Leonard Raskin week after week here and we talk about things. Leonard, I had no idea you and I would be talking hockey as we're getting up on the 4th of July. It is one of those things that has brought us together and certainly into the evenings now. Sports is really back, isn't it? I mean, every day, whether it's golf, whether it's tennis last week, it's just back. Even I'm going to a Bay Sox game next week. How about that?
There you go. Yeah, it's definitely back. And I think the Montreal Canadiens got a dose of it being back. They hadn't played outside of Canada the whole season. No people the whole season. They showed up for a playoff game in Las Vegas and had, 18,000 screaming night fans that scared the hell out of them, apparently. It was a tough game for them. But yeah, hockey's still going. My wife asked me the other day, I was watching a game and she said, "Is this the finals?"
Not yet.
Middle of July, I think the finals. She's like, "Are you kidding me?" It's amazing they can keep the ice going in Vegas. It was 115 degrees there this week and they're playing hockey.
Leonard, when I went out there for games 1 and 2 of the finals a couple years ago, not when they won. When they won, it was just as hot. But I had a white sport coat and a white shirt, and it was 108 degrees, and I'm walking out of my hotel because inside the rink it's freaking cold. Like I wore a sport coat because it was sort of my tradition to look nice because hockey press boxes, everyone, Eddie always wore a sport coat for 20 years to Caps games. So I just took it on and it became my thing. When I would go to a Caps game, I had a blue sport coat with a red pocket. So it was kind of fun being a Caps fan, like all that. But out in Vegas, I thought the same thing. Ted Leones just yelled at me once because the doors got left open at the Royal Farms Arena, and when the Capitals played Trotz's Predators.
Clippers. Oh, okay.
The Predators, when they played a preseason game.
Gotcha.
May have been 11 or 12. It was in that. No. It was after my wife got sick. Maybe it was 15, 14, 15. No, it was 11 or 12. Trotz was still in Nashville. So, yes, the ice was sloppy. In Baltimore in September because someone left the door open. When I got into that Vegas building, when it was 112 outside, it was a building. It was built in 2016, right? In America, in the middle of the desert. They sort of planned for it. But my God, I would agree with you. I mean, as a fan, you see the fans wearing their jerseys and stuff it's a really weird juxtaposition. It was in Tampa too, 2 weeks before when I went.
Yeah, right. You got to take a jersey or a long sleeve shirt into the game, and then you got to have a nice T-shirt or a Raskin Global shirt here underneath. And when you leave, you pull the top off and you cool down, or you try to cool down. It's 110 in the shade, or at night.
I need a Raskin Global starter jacket is what I need.
There you go.
That's what I would want inside the hockey ring. Leonard Raskin here from Raskin Global. Joins us all the time. We talk sports, hockey and Trotz, and me watching this. Here's been my thought this week after they won the game on Sunday. He's 7 wins away from the Hall of Fame. I think he's going to the Hall of Fame if they win a cup.
I think he's already. I mean, he's stellar, and he's proven it. He's done a great job with multiple teams. He takes the Islanders to the final. I think he's good as gold. If they win, holy cow. Yeah, no question about it if they win.
Well, for us with sports and it being sort of the lifeline and back out in front of everything and where we are, Ravens throwing the football around this week, right? So this is the week you get the new scorecard and you're like, everybody's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. I mean, they're all claiming the single digits now, right? So we're gonna need a little scorecard when we get together here with single digit guys catching footballs and chasing quarterbacks and whatnot. But aside from all that, it really is an incredible time of optimism, I think, if you're a Ravens fan, because I feel like they're really going to be good, right? And I look at the Detroit game, and I just bought a flight to Chicago in November. So I'm looking at games later in the year and thinking, this is going to be one of those good years. We have a lot of those around here, but they don't have a lot of those in other places. They don't have those in Washington.
They don't have those in Detroit.
That's a good point.
Yeah, there's lots of places that don't get to see good ball. You know, I had to be, you had to take pleasure, right? Take pleasure in the fact that last year the Patriots weren't good. I mean, those people up in Boston, they got too much, man. They got the Bruins, they got the Patriots, they got the Red Sox. They needed to experience a bad year. I mean, these people just have too much good sports. And yeah, we get to experience the Orioles, and now we get to experience the Ravens, you know, a winning organization and a winning team, and it'll be fun to watch them win, hopefully.
I'm going down to Bowie, see these kids pitch. Moeller's got me all lathered up. I had Alan on the show last week. We had Phil Rye on from the Bowie Bay Sox as well, talking about prospects. This is going to be kind of an interesting thing for me. Get in the car, drive down to Bowie, you know, grab a meal, park the car, go into a minor league park. It's $10 to get in, right? You do need a scorecard, right? Like to some degree. Right. And I guess your scorecard is now your phone, right? You know, like,
yeah.
I remember I taught my wife how to keep score when we got married in 2003. Yeah. Because I used to still say, I still had a press pass then, but Peter thought I would. So I would literally keep score in the press box because I did that my whole life. I haven't kept score at a game in 15 years or whatever. And I'm going to this minor league game, and I'm sort of like, I don't really know any of the players. They're going to have the milk the cow contest or the margarita thing or whatever they're doing. You know, I haven't been to a minor league baseball game in so long that it's something that I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it so much I'm talking about it, and I'm not going until next week.
There you go. Hey, I got a question for you on the keeping score part. When they move the third baseman to short right field, is he still the number 5?
Put out 5, yes. Put out 5.
Does he become 2.5? How do you 3.5? How do you mark that on the scorecard?
I'm not going to think that through too much.
When you say a put out at 5, you'd think he was at third base, but he's in short right. What do you call that? The girls softball put out? How does that work?
You know what? I probably would in my way, because everybody that ever kept score, my dad would say, this is the way you officially keep score. And he drew the straight line for the single and the double and all that. And I would put 2B or 1B because I just wanted to look at it, not have to count how many lines, right? But my dad taught me the legitimate way, you know, to keep score. Yeah. And then I bastardized it in my own way right around 1979. You know, when the Orioles, Jimmy Schwartz and I, we talk about it all the time.
We are family.
Jim Schwartz still had, and he showed it to me, he had his black and white, like remember little checkerboard black and white notebooks you would get? He had the 79 Orioles, and every day he kept score.
Goodness.
So he would show this to me, and I'm like, I was the same kid, but I had my own system. What my system now would be, I would put a dot wherever the ball was. Like literally, because if the ball was in short right field, I put the dot there. Now, I don't know whether that means the center fielder caught it, the right fielder caught it, the shortstop caught it, the second base. It could be anybody, right? So that's the way I kept score, but I'm never going to keep score again, and that kind of breaks my heart. It's like I'm never going to collect baseball cards again, you know?
Yeah, it's over. It's all over.
But I am going to fly fish, and I'm going to glamp, and I'm going to stay in a yurt, even though I didn't know what a yurt was. I'm doing this crab cake tour. I know you're hitting the road. You've been down the beach a little bit. Give me a little view of life as you're seeing it here with the beaches open up. This is really kind of a glorious time to be alive, I think, in a lot of ways, because we were shut down, and now we're open up, and there was nothing else to compare it to. But when I'm starting to see Stones concerts pop up, and I'm starting to see Merriweather dates on my calendar, like Alanis Morissette, things that feel real. I have Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick on the program after you today. And
there we go.
Right? So I got rock stars calling in. They're coming to stage. Golfers are golfing, tennissers are tennising. They're giving rackets away, making kids cry, making me watch the French Open at 4 PM.
French Open was something else. That was a classic semifinal and a
life's
great
back
final.
Again, right?
Yeah, there's some good tennis happening. There was some good golf happening, and the crowds are out there. People want to see it now. French Open wasn't too full. They didn't have that place filled up, but there were still a lot of fans out there, and I think day by day, baseball stadiums are full capacity, and that's starting to happen. I think the Orioles. Do the Orioles still have restrictions? I think they may be full.
Well, hang on. They're in the city, so I know there are some restrictions because I live in the city. But my wife and I had this argument the other night. They were on the road. They were playing in Tampa, getting their ass kicked again. And
Right.
and we're talking about like people at the game, and I'm like, I don't know, and I don't even know that I need to comment on whether there's, I don't know that they'll get the 50% at any point, right? Like literally.
Well,
And they're
I
they're
think
giving away like a Jim Palmer bobblehead. They're doing some stuff later in the month.
yeah, I think they're giving away stuff, and I think they're gonna do a fireworks thing at some point, and maybe they'll get 25,000. That'd be good.
What would get you to the ballpark? I'm being honest. What would get you there?
Oh no, I'll take my wife and son. The three of us are gonna go to maybe a Friday night or a Saturday night game just to see the boys. Hang out for a night and have a dog and some nachos. I ain't wearing a mask, so if they still say you got to wear a mask in the stadium, I ain't interested. Outside, shut up. I'm not interested in having a face diaper on at the stadium there.
I would agree outside without him, outside shot up. Like that's the reason we're there.
Yeah.
I still think the inside thing's interesting. I'll give you a story. You ready for a story?
Sure.
And I don't even know the answer to this. And I could pull the form out. I got it right here. If I can reach into my bag of tricks here, I'll pull it out. And I don't want to get too specific with it, but I know you know what this is, right?
Yeah.
Jury duty. I got jury
Amen.
duty this week, right? So being a good citizen. And I literally thought about this like when I was putting the shirt on before the segment, I thought to myself, I got jury duty. It's tomorrow. Am I going to get any work done? I can take my computer. How do I get on my hotspot? Are they going to pull me into a trial again? Whatever it is.
Right.
But I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I remember that little cramped courthouse that I've sat in about, 6 times over the course of years living downtown. And I'm thinking to myself, mask. I'm not going to like being cramped up with people inside on an 85-degree day with a mask on or off or anywhere. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what the rules are. You know what I mean? Like social distance. I'm really, really wondering how I can keep people away from me tomorrow. And I don't mind wearing a mask. I mean, I'm not anti-mask. I'm just sort of like, I'm anti-mask where I don't have to wear one, right? Places where I'm safe. Come on, don't be ridiculous. Places where I'm not safe, I want a mask. Hey, I'm very much the yellow wristband. I'm very much hey, give me the elbow bump. I don't need to hug everybody because I'm convinced that, and I know this, 45% of the people I see any given point aren't shot. They can say they're shot, right? I know I'm shot. I trust you. I love you. Even though we don't politically agree all the time, you tell me you're shot, I believe it. But when I'm walking down the street, I know statistically not everybody has a shot, right? So when I'm in a room full of city residents where I know the vaccination rate's 55%, I will want to wear a mask. And do I have to be in a mask with 10 hours on my jury duty? I'm wondering. Crazy. I'll report back to you next week. How about that?
Yeah, interested to hear A, if you have to, B, what everybody else does. I know I've been to places where they say this is kind of funny. You're supposed to wear them. And I've gone to places now where yesterday, last week, last month, clearly there was a sign on the door, masks, you got to have the mask. This month, no mask sign. So I go in without it. 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10 people in there still have the mask.
Yeah, I wear my mask in the store to be respectful of people.
So I'm not wearing it. And what happened, what's interesting, one place I was, people came in, saw me in there doing stuff and took their masks off. It's like, who am I? But they felt comfortable taking theirs off because a couple people in the place didn't have them on. It's just kind of interesting.
So I've done that, and I was in a restaurant, recently, and there were only 4 people in there. And, restaurants have been different too. And I think it's different now with windows open too. My wife and I went and sat at the Chaucer the other night. I mean, just the most beautiful, glorious breeze ever, but we went into Max's for a beer, sat by the door. No one had a mask on because it's a bar, but I felt more like inside, doors closed. I want air, that's just my mentality. And having watched my wife almost die twice. So like all of that, and just, I'm elbow bumpy right now, and I'm not going to apologize for that. But I respect where everybody is on all this. I'm wondering at what point is there a new decorum, or will there ever be, right?
No,
Or is
no,
it
I
always
think
going to be a
people
little
will get.
awkward?
I think it's going to be a little awkward. I think there are still people. I think a year from now, you're going to see people walking around with a mask on because people will choose to do that. They feel comfortable with it, or for whatever reason, it's in their psyche now. They can't get it out. And I will tell you, there are clearly, let's face it, there are some people never put one on, don't want to wear one, won't wear one, never going to wear one. I fall closer to category 2 than category 1. I remember a post on Facebook, a cousin posted, this was probably 2 months ago, that she and her husband were heading out to a restaurant. First time in 14 months, they were going to a restaurant. She wanted to know if she was the only one. So a lot of people start posting on her page. I haven't been out. We haven't been out. We did carry out. We've not been out. And I posted on there that I've been to about 25 restaurants. So I'm the guy that went out, went to the restaurants, did my thing. I just kind of said, okay, if it gets me, it gets me. Then they came up with the shot. Then I got shot. So, okay, great. Now I'm going to still go out to the restaurants and I'm not real worried about it. I've heard all the good news and I focus on the good news. I'm not focused on the bad news. If I worried about dying, I wouldn't get in a car every day. I mean, there's lots of things that can take us out in this world. And one of them is going to someday. That's how I live my life.
Well, through all of this, you manage money, right? And people have had, I mean, I know in our family over the last 15 months, paying bills and PPPs and loans and this and that, and just where it is and who's employed and who's not and who's been
Yep.
furloughed. And on my Facebook page, people struggling. Debt accumulates, right? And you've had an
Yeah.
occasion recently. You talk about building wealth and bring me a lot of money if you have it. There's a whole different side of that to, hey man, let me help you get out from whatever you're under here so we can start to accumulate some wealth. And I know that that you've helped some people recently. And boy, there's still a lot of loan sharking going on out there, right? Even in the world of
Oh yeah.
2% money, right?
Oh yeah. It's crazy. Your credit score is everything when it comes to your financial well-being. It's your budget and your credit score. And we've had occasion to see people have, even with good credit scores, get lousy credit. And the old saying is, you're in that hole, you got to dig out. You got to dig out of the hole. Well, let me tell you, there's no way to dig out of a hole. If you're in a hole, you need a ladder, not a shovel. You don't dig, you climb. And we've helped young couples get themselves on the right side of the debt monster. We've helped older couples get on the right side of the debt monster. It's insidious. And we had a client recently came to us. This is classic. We see this too often. People, and this isn't a what's the word I want to use? Not a fallacy. It's not a bad thing. People are emotional about their money. They take an emotional belief that dictates what they do with their money. And what we try to do is help people understand their real purpose, their true purpose for money. And as a result of that, then
putting a value to it, like truly not just a number to it, but what does it represent, right?
Absolutely. What's it for? Is it for family? Is it for charity? Is love the mission? Is, your case, you said you saw your wife almost die twice. So is that a cause that you care about, that you want to contribute to the finding the cure of? And as a result, money's not just about a scoreboard, but about helping other people survive in the world. And you want to give to that cause. What are these things that people want their money to do for them? And so emotion comes in everywhere. And in this case, this couple, they had some really bad consumer debt that they'd racked up over time. And they went out to get a consolidation loan for this debt. And unbeknownst to us, we didn't work with them at the time, but so these people have a house. Let's say the house is worth about $500,000 and their mortgage is a couple $100,000. And then they owe these other random credit cards and personal loans and things that got out of control over time, kind of spiraled out of control. So they wanted to get a loan to pay off this other stuff. And so here's the scenario. They found this company that would do a consolidation for them. And that's a good thing because now they're only making one payment a month instead of 7 payments a month. And they're on their way out because they can see the finish line. And what they didn't see was a 14% interest rate on a personal loan with a prepayment penalty of 4 years that says they can't pay early even if they want to. And it's an insidious situation. It's a horrible number. and yet they were prepaying the mortgage on their house. So they're trying to rapidly pay down 3.5% interest deductible debt and not have the right to pay down a 14, 15% personal loan without a penalty. And it's just hard to believe that type of loan exists, and it
That
does.
feels like it should be illegal.
Well, you know, there's these check cashing places that I don't begrudge the check cashers. They serve a purpose in the marketplace. But there's day lenders and payday lenders, things like that, man, they charge 40, 50, 60%. And there's terms that if the loan is of a short certain duration and it's given to certain individuals, you know, these usurious, literally, as you said, loan shark kind of rates are out there. It's horrible. Now, this stuff should be illegal. It's predatory. It's disgusting. And the problem is, I freely admit it, you know, I don't serve that marketplace that is poor and needs help. And they get no good financial advice. They have no good service. And let's face it, the bank, I don't care what the bank you go to is, the bank is in the habit of lending money to people that don't need it, that they know can pay it back very efficiently at low rates. But if you need the money, you're not getting a loan. People think I can go borrow from the bank. You can't borrow from the bank if you need money. That's when you get stuck in these 14, 15, 20, 30, 40% interest rate deals. And if you've got one of those, you've got to find a way to get to somebody to help you get out of it. So what we've done in this case, we've negotiated with the lender. We said, look, you've already stolen enough from the guy. How long are you going to keep stealing? He wants to pay the loan off right now. And the loan payoff was just ridiculous. And we made him an offer. And now we're in the counter and negotiation, and they're coming back with a reasonable number. Now, only reasonable because of the unreasonableness of the original, what it would take to pay it off right now. So we're down to something that's more reasonable, certainly not reasonable. And this company will have made almost 40% on this loan in 12 months. 40% in 12 months. And it's criminal. It's criminal. But what's, I think, worse, equally bad, I would say equally bad, is the fact that this couple didn't have somebody to reach out to ask, should we do this? Is there a different way? Because they could have taken a loan against their house probably at 5% and done the same thing at 5% that they did at 15%. No prepayment penalty, interest deductible, versus the mess they got themselves in because they didn't know who to ask.
Leonard Raskin is here. He is who to ask. Raskin Global is the way to find him at raskinglobal.com, giving great advice with money and debt consolidation if you're into such things, but certainly investing and into the market. And, you know, we talk about the markets in the summer and where all this is. We talked about interest rates. As the economy gets back out, there's no crystal ball for any of this, but interest rates on loans and stuff still solid. I mean, it feels like the economy's moving nicely.
The economy is moving nicely. The Fed is not moving anything. Interest rates are still ridiculously low. If you haven't refinanced and you have a long-term mortgage in the 4s, you can certainly get it down in the 3s, maybe even under 3. 30-year fixed loans under 3, 15-year fixed mortgages 2.5, 2.25. They have to go up. Taxes are going up. The economy's heating up. We're seeing inflation on prices. If you look at anything, prices are going up. Sheet of plywood probably up 400% in the last year. Meat at the grocery store is up 50%. Gas is up 50% from a year ago. Prices on everything is up, and it's going to keep going up as long as the government prints money.
Leonard? How do I buy cows? How do I buy transportation? How do I buy lumber?
Yeah, you're probably not going to go out and play the lumber's futures market. That's a little crazy to try to get into. It's super aggressive, super risky. What the greatest wealth creation tool known to mankind long term is the stock market. And the stock market, what's going to inevitably happen right now and until now, companies for the most part have been eating the price increases. So you'll notice you go out to a lot of places and you can still buy what you bought yesterday at about the same price.
Crab cake being the worst example of that in some places.
There you go. So the fact is, some companies are starting to pass on that price increase through in their pricing and not reducing their profitability. But I can tell you, if employment costs keep going up, if minimum wage goes up, and people think, well, minimum wage went up, so an entry-level worker is going to make $15, so what? Yeah, but somebody that was making 15 is now going to want 20. And so everybody's wages go up, and that's not a terrible thing. We like to see wages go up. But when it's mandated, a business's profitability is going to go down, and they're going to raise their prices. And the way to make money on all this is to own the stocks of great corporations diversified around the world and hold them, because the stock market will react and companies' profits will increase and companies will make money. The other way to do it is to own real assets, real property. Own property that's going to make money, own rental property, own other real estate. That's hard for a lot of people to do. It's a lot easier to own a share in a stock market of a mutual fund that invests in the US stock market, S&P 500, let's say, than it is to go out and buy a share of a shopping center as an investor. So there's ways to look at this, and you got to recognize it's here. Inflation is here, and who knows how long. Let's hope it's not insidious and too long. We don't want to see prices go to the point where we're in short supply and we can't get what we want, or pay through the nose to get it.
We certainly saw some empty shelves last year during the beginning of the pandemic, understanding, chains and all of that, supply chains, all that. Leonard Raskin's here. When he's not talking sports, he's talking business, and sometimes he's down at the beach having a good time here this summer. I'm looking forward to visiting with you next week. We're going to get that crab cake down the road, all right? I'm working on that in July with you, and certainly the tour in August. It's all being put together right now. So we're going to have some fun around here, Leonard.
Absolutely. Where are you crab caking in Bowie?
I'm not on the crab. I'm going easy because I'm doing 30 and 30 in August. I don't know that there's going to be a crab cake in Bowie, but I had 2 recommendations on restaurants, and I'm sort of sifting through opportunities at this point down there.
There you go. Well, enjoy the game. That should be a fun time.
Well, yeah, I need to get out to a ball game for sure. It's gonna be a good summer here either way. We got the Crab Cake Tour ahead in August, concerts back on the radar, and certainly sports back on televisions for lots and lots of folks, and the Oriole games available as well if you want to come down to the yard. We walked around Fells Point on Saturday, and we walked through the city, and the city was bustling, and businesses back.
Starting to happen.
Yeah, we felt people everywhere, kids, dogs, families, grandmas.
We were in Annapolis. We were in Annapolis. It was happening. People were
smiles, no
the
masks outside.
Right,
it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
Pretty girls in their summer clothes, as Bruce would say. I got Springsteen tickets last week, Leonard. If you know what I'm saying? Like, life's back when I'm sitting on Springsteen tickets in New York.
There
2
you
weeks
go.
From now.
There
Leonard
you go.
Raskin Global. You hear about him in our ads. You see him out on BaltimorePositive.com, where we have a segment, especially for him. If you need a little advice on some money or just want to make a quick appointment, they're there for you, including in the fall with Wednesday nights and some Finance 101 ahead at Raskin Global. I'm Nestor. You can find us out at BaltimorePositive.com, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, anywhere you are. We are WNST AM 1570 Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking Baltimore positive.